that's number one focus on my mind preparing for Jacksonville. They're a great defense. This is probably going to be the biggest test and challenge for us as an offense, so it's a big one.
All right, everybody, welcome to Jacksonville, Florida. This is a special Steelers Live. We are at the Steelers Nation Unite Road Warriors block party. I'm Missi Matthews. He's Tunch Ilkin at the River City Brewing Company, and I think we brought some of our friends, Tunch.
I can't believe how many Steeler fans are here, and the Steeler Nation has taken over Jacksonville. Just coming over here, people are walking across the bridge, people are walking in the streets, terrible towels everywhere. This is going to be a Steeler home game tomorrow.
All right, that's what we like to hear. So let's take a quick look at the Steelers status report for that game tomorrow. A 1 p.m. kickoff, and just two guys who are listed as out, Marcus Gilbert and Stephon Tuitt. You don't want to see them out, but we have seen Mike Feiler step up and be able to fill in for Gilbert recently. Yeah,
Matty has played really well. I'm very impressed with him. He's physical, he's strong. He's got decent feet, and he's done a great job at right tackle. And also Tyson Alualu will be playing for Stephon most of the time at left defensive end. And this is a great opportunity for him because he's playing his old buddies. A guy that he practiced against, Jeremy Purnell, is who he's going to be playing against as their right tackle. And this is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be exciting. You look at the other side, Jacksonville has had a lot of guys hurt. They're on their fourth left tackle. Cam Robinson, their stud left tackle, got hurt. He's on IR. Then Josh Wells came in, and he got hurt. He's on IR. And then Josh Walker's been playing. They got Eric Flowers off the street, and he's been playing. So they've been playing 4 left tackles. And so this is going to be a great matchup for Bud Dupree, and it's going to be a great matchup for the Steelers in general, I think. And, A.J. Cann is hurt, so they're going to have a different guy at right guard. So, and Josh Walker is doubtful. So, well, A.J. Cann probably will play. When you're questionable, you're going to suck it up and go, especially at this game. But, I'm walking through here with all the fans, and they're saying, is this a trap game? No, this is a revenge game. Man, are you kidding me? It's a revenge game. The Steelers have downplayed that. They've downplayed it, but I guarantee you, because of what happened last year, they're coming down here with a mean disposition, as our old head coach Chuck Noll used to say.
All right, we know how much you and Wolf love to talk about the O-line, and I think Wolf forgot to invite you, but he had some Hyde Park and hung out with the O-line a few weeks ago, so let's take a quick look at a piece of that.
I haven't heard a word coming from Ragu. All right, now this is mass consumption right in front of me. That's like the size of that's like a small prairie mammal you're consuming right there. All right.
It is. Take it down. One more order. A wagyu.
Who gets so tense they can't eat before a game? Anybody?
Al, when he's stressing about a DN.
Jabs on the left side.
Watch me, Mo.
Hey, they got some people over there, Dave. Left side got a lot of people. So True Confession says Al is a little bit high-strung, huh?
Yeah.
All right, True Confessions, Ben Roethlisberger always says this offense will go as far as the guys up front. How true has this been this year, especially with the running game and what James Conner's been able to do?
Whether you're blocking for the run or whether you're pass protecting for Ben, the offensive line has been outstanding. In my opinion, they're the best offensive line in the National Football League right now. You watch Ben. I mean, it's almost like Ben drops back to pass. He orders a pizza, and he's waiting for it to be delivered, and so he's outstanding. And then the holes that they're opening, and that's why James is a great running back. He runs with a low pad level, and he's fast, and he can run over guys, he can make guys miss, and he can run away from guys. And, one of the things that you love about this offensive line, they got a great coach in Mike Munchak. And when you watch the offensive line practice through the course of the week, I mean, Munch puts them in situations, whether it's an assignment recognition or whether it's technique, and they're always working on being caught in bad situations and overcoming, and they have been outstanding, and every one of those guys have played great. I'm really excited because that group is the closest, and you saw them eating together. I mean, that's offensive linemen always eat together. I mean, we in our day, same thing. But I'm really excited about the matchup now against this defensive line, this front seven.
All right, lastly for you, do you think this is going to be a high-scoring game tomorrow? The Steelers are going to have to put up a lot of points to win this one.
You know, I never can tell. I'm not good at predicting, but I do know this. You know, they've been rotating their defensive linemen around because, you know, when they got rid of Dante Fowler, so Malik Jackson, he's down about 10, 15 pounds. So he's normally the three-technique defensive tackle. They've moved him out at defensive end. Sometimes they'll put Calais Campbell inside. So they keep rotating those 4 down guys. And, you know, last week, an offensive line that's not as good, not nearly as good as the Steelers, had their way with them. Now, Avery Jones makes a nice play over here, but the Colts offensive line, for the most part, did a good part. Yannick Ngakoue, he's their best pass rusher. He's got 5 sacks. Campbell is more of the physical guy. He does a great job of getting off the ball. Miles Jack and Telvin Smith, those guys are sideline to sidelines. But I think that if you watch them in the secondary, there's a lot of busts in coverage. And I think maybe Paul Posluszny not being there, you know, he was the stabilizer. And, you know, he's a terrific player. He made all the calls. But now you see a lot of big plays. Last week versus the Colts, their tight ends killed. It almost looked like there's right there, Ebron gets touchdown. It almost looks like they don't know how to cover the tight end anymore. I mean, it was a big game for Colts tight ends, so don't be surprised if we see multiple tight end looks by the Steelers.
All right, Tunch, thanks so much for joining me. We are going to take a quick break from here in Jacksonville. Coming up next, Merril Hoge will join us here at River City Brewing Company. Don't go anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, you have to think about it. You try to keep it every week the same. That's at least I try to be professional about it. But it's always gonna be in the back of your head. You know, they kicked our butt, and you know, you got something to prove, and they know that too, and they know we'll be fired up, ready to go. It's at their place, so it'll be a good challenge. They're a great defense.
Is that fair to say, even though they might not have the record everybody thought or they thought they would have at this point, you can kind of toss that out the window?
Yeah, records really don't mean much in games like this, where, you know, common opponent and, you know, the history between us, and it'll be a good battle. I know they'll be ready.
All right, Merril Hoge is in the house for our Steelers Nation Unite Road Warriors block party from Jacksonville. You heard Dave DeCastro say you can't not think about last year. You heard Tunch say it. Is this a revenge game for the Steelers? Fair to say?
Yeah, I've been in those situations before, and there is a certain sense of, you know, motivation when there's a little bit of history there. You know, when you have no history, then it's hard to create history. So when you've had history like that, it does play a role. And I always say don't ever underestimate a professional. You know, that's why even though they're not playing very well, and, you know, the Steelers really are playing better now than I think at any point last year, you still just can't walk into an NFL environment and just say, well, based on how we're playing to this point, we're going to win. You know, there's still things that they're going to have to do in order to beat Jacksonville. And last year will be a certain drive, but that drive has been affecting them all week and how they prepare.
All right, let's take a look big picture right now, just because we can. Week 11 of the NFL season of the AFC standings, and then kind of like where the Steelers are right now, especially after this weekend. They didn't play after Thursday night, and some things happened, especially with the New England Patriots losing. What do you see in terms of the top teams in the AFC right now, Merril?
Well, I guess I'll just look at the top two. You got Kansas City and Pittsburgh. I mean, if it comes down to, the end of the season, more than likely, Kansas City's going to have home field advantage throughout.
Okay.
The difference if they were to play again is really this defense for the Steelers. It is nothing like when Kansas City played them. I mean, they were a defense that they looked lost. They looked confused. They didn't look like how they knew how to communicate. Even when they had blitz, they were late. They were hesitant. They were running into each other. Well, they don't look like that now. I'm telling you, they look like the defenses of old when they would dominate. I mean, where they're coming from, the timing, how they enter a box. And I think it's hard for a fan to truly appreciate designing blitzes is one thing. Executing them is another, and there's a certain timing that goes, a disguise with it, and I'm going to tell you, they're sneaky, because I think in the last several games that when you go back and look at them, I want to say they've had 3 to 4 free blitzers, okay? That's a National Football League setting. If you can get 1 free blitzer on a Sunday, you've done a pretty good job. In the last few weeks, they're getting 2 and 3 a game. That's just incredible design and execution of the defense. So that environment will be different. That's kind of jumping, way to the FC Championship games. A lot of football to be played. But the one thing that would be different if they see Kansas City again is how this defense is playing.
We have to talk about Le'Veon Bell. He had the deadline on Tuesday at 4 p.m., did not show. So we knew he's not going to be here for this season. What does that mean for this team? Is it just over and done? They don't have to worry about it anymore? Or is that something you think that is still talked about in the locker room?
It means nothing now. From a player's perspective in the locker room, I'm sure there's a sense of disappointment that he didn't show up, because most of them would think, aside from AB and Ben, are not making $14 million a year. And they're like, you're never going to make that up, and you really missed a year of your prime. There's this thought process that you're going to say wear and tear. Yes, but you also lost a year of your prime you're never getting back. And nobody's going to give you the extra $14 million next year. Your market value is your market value. That stays that way. They don't say, you know what, we'll give you an extra $14 million. No team's going to do that. So it's unfortunate for him last year, because I just think whoever is giving him guidance and giving him information, it was bad. And sometimes a player forgets that that agent works for you, you don't work for him.
And then you heard the fans as soon as we even brought up, I won't even say the B word again, we heard the James Conner chants. Just what are your impressions of what he's been able to do so far?
I was listening to Tunch talk about this offensive line and really how great they've been. And obviously, Tunch was one of the great offensive linemen. I played with Tunch. And the one thing that always resonated in the huddle is when those guys do their job to the level they're doing it, and the back breaks tackles and gets extra yards and complements that, that is when you walk in as one. That huddle changes. Because an offensive lineman, listen, when they're doing their job and they're getting you 5 yards and nobody's touching you, then you better break a tackle. And I think that's one thing James Conner has done better than Le'Veon Bell. The way he's exploded into holes, broke tackles, got extra yards. And he has a really unique sense when he checks down in the passing game to get open. And Ben has found that, and I can tell you from when I played, I'd always tell my quarterback where I was going to be. So as they worked through their progression, you could almost see it in their head. If it wasn't there, they remembered where they would, and they'd check it down. And you give James Conner the ball, you're going to have 15 yards you're going to have 5 yards or 15 yards every time. So he's done a really incredible job by his production. At the end of the day, it's about production. He's done that. He's done it in both phases. I know that offensive line loves playing for a guy like that. So that's going to continue to get better. It's not going to get worse.
Like to hear that. All right, Merril, thank you so much for your
My
time
pleasure.
tonight. Always great to have you here on Steelers Live. And time for another quick break. When we return, Rocky Bleier joins me on set. Don't go anywhere.
His development has been consistent and steady all the way through. He had a really good spring. He did a nice job in the offseason, in the month we had off, keeping his body in shape. And I thought he had a really good fall camp.
Welcome back to Jacksonville as the Steelers Nation Unite Road Warriors block party continues. Rocky Bleier, good to have you with us. Thanks for
thanks,
being
Missi.
here.
It's a pleasure to be here. What a
You
group.
bring some fans.
My goodness. I have to tell you, this is better than Tampa. I mean, these guys are nuts down here.
Did you
I'm
hear
glad
that?
the
He said
fans
you're better than Tampa.
Oh, that's
That was offensive coordinator Randy Fichtner talking about James Conner. I feel like it'd be rude if I didn't ask you about James Conner. So what have you seen from him this season, stepping in and really showing how well he's been playing?
You know, I think that when he came and got drafted, and coming out of Pittsburgh, there was a lot of expectation. Everybody was rooting for him, for James to do well and so on. So his rookie year, he comes in, he's got to make it. He's got to make that transition, and it was like, well, is he going to arise to the occasion? Obviously, given the opportunity that had taken place, and he's done it more. I think better than we expected as fans to get on, and especially in his first year. And we haven't missed a beat. I mean, we haven't missed a beat in the running game. We haven't missed a beat as a receiver coming out. He's picked up. He's got some things to learn, but he will, and he's been doing that very well. And look at the stats that he has, and it shows you what he can do, but more importantly, how he fits well into this offensive system.
He said this offseason he did a lot to get in physical condition, shed a lot of weight, made sure that the conditioning was up where it needed to be. How much does that help, especially going into year 2 where he probably understands the playbook better than he did his rookie year?
You know, the thought that he had to, what he said, you know, I have to do this, I have to do that, you know, shows there's an indication that he wants to become better, that he wants to achieve, that he wants to break into that starting lineup, and because he didn't know what was going to happen at that time coming into the season with Le'Veon Bell. So all of a sudden he steps in, and obviously, as we've seen, we have not missed a beat. So if I'm a coach and I'm looking at what the talent that he had, more importantly, he recognized the talent that he had and what needed to get done, and so he slimmed down. He worked on the things that he needed to, and it showed, and it showed very well so far this season.
All right, tomorrow's game is at 1 p.m. It was supposed to be a Sunday night game, and the NFL announced this week 2 other of the Steelers games have been flexed. The LA Chargers game moves to Sunday night football. That's also Alumni Week, and we're going to be celebrating Super Bowl 13 and Super Bowl 43, and then Steelers at Raiders was supposed to be Sunday night. Now it's at 4:25, but Super Bowl 13. What is it like when you, Joe Green, all of these Steelers greats get into a room together?
It's 40 years of old memories. Yeah, we were never better than we are today. You know, back during that period of time, we could have wiped up everybody. But it's great. It's great to be able to see those players, because a lot of times you don't get a chance to do it. Be able to reminisce, get back together. Also pay tribute to those that we've lost in the past that have passed away. They've been a great part in the success of that team. But we look back, and you know, and part of the satisfaction is that to be a part of that group, to help establish what is here today, you know, and the Super Bowls back in 9 and 10 and 13 and 14 back through the 70s, and the success that has been built on through those years thereafter, and the fan base that we've had has been it's been great, and just to be a part of that beginning is really. Makes me very emotional. Yes, it does. Yeah.
All right, and tomorrow, what's one thing you're looking for from the Steelers team to help keep this winning streak going?
You know, the thing that they got going is the last 2 times that they've played Jacksonville, you know, and especially last year, and that momentum. And they're better than Jacksonville. And so they know that, and they got to come out and they just have to produce. I thought one of the great things that had taken place over the last several weeks, because we as fans at the beginning of the season, you know, things aren't going the way, you know, we tie a game with Cleveland, a couple losses, and all of a sudden we start to point fingers, and what's the question, why, who's, and then a couple of weeks ago, Mike Tomlin said, you know, we're not going to go and change people. You know, we got to work with what we have here, because we drafted you, or we hired you for a specific reason, and we believe in that reason. So all those questions that we had about the secondary, and all of a sudden it started to change, and we started to play together as a team, and that becomes the important thing. So they've turned that corner of what they can do. They know some of the weaknesses, but they know how to cover it as well. And the confidence just shows in the last several weeks, and it will continue as they build towards the end of the season.
All right, well, Rocky, thanks for being here.
Thank
and,
you.
Big round of applause for Rocky. Merril Hoge and Santonio Holmes for being on hand for our Steelers Nation Unite Road Warriors Block Party. Time for one more quick break. We'll be back with some Jacksonville fun facts after the break. Jacksonville, Florida at the River City Brewing Company for our Steelers Nation Unite Road Warriors Block Party. A big thanks once again to Merril Hoge, Rocky, Bleier, and Santonio Holmes for being here. For all of these great fans, a few news and notes and housekeeping things to get over today. Some fun facts as we get ready for the Jacksonville game tomorrow at 1 p.m. With a win on Sunday, the Steelers will extend their current winning streak to 6 games and improve to 15-1-1 on the road. A big help if Steelers Nation can keep it loud at TIAA Bank Field. James Conner is one of 2 players right now in the NFL with 1,100 scrimmage yards and 10-plus touchdowns so far this season. Only him and Todd Gurley. And Antonio Brown needs just 1 touchdown catch to reach 70 in his career. And since we are in Florida and this weather is way better than Pittsburgh right now, let's take a look at the forecast for tomorrow. A high of 74, a low of 56, 20% chance of rain, but hey, it's Florida, we'll take it. We know that you guys don't care what the weather will be like. Everyone will be there raring to go. And of course, for everybody here, so pay attention, I have your keyword. And for everybody who couldn't join us at home, the keyword for tonight is party. So head to SteelersNationUnite.com and enter the keyword party for earning your extra yards for joining us tonight. A big thanks to everyone at home watching. A big thanks to you guys for helping us all night long. That is going to do it, and it is the very latest from Jacksonville. We'll see you guys next time. Have a great night.